Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube video. You hear your host GBHL Damian, and this is the two time zones. Episode 6, I think, possibly 7. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I think that works for this series. It took Taylor a while to send the last one over, and I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of meant to be a bit like a pen pal thing, so that you would have a bit of a wait. So I've found myself very busy of late, but very little hobby time. So that's meant I haven't been able to do it as well, but I do have a bit of hobby time today, so I thought I would crack on and record on these little videos to keep it going. So what am I working at the moment? I'm working on, ta-da! If that's focusing, it is the Forge World Doran. Yeah! Doran in coat, awesome model. And I've also got on the go the Forge World Keeley on the go. So I've just started work on my kind of new Forge World Thorin's company models. And that's my next project essentially. But I don't know if I'm probably not. I've just done the Champions of Variable recently, so I'm probably not going to do all 13 of them in a row. But I just love this Thorin model, so I was really keen to give that a go and get him painted up. I've also managed to get this kind of really cool Thorin Oak and Shield painting guide that I came across. So I'm using that. It's got some nice tips for painting his face and painting his hair and such. So hopefully you might be able to come across that yourself before too long. So how are we? To give you some idea, as ever, if you're new to this series, the idea of this is that I'm just going to sit here and paint, and we kind of continue this little sit and chat between myself and Taylor from Blackfyre Productions. So by all means, get your paints out and. I'll just have this on in the background. Really, it's certainly not going to be a particularly visual treat. But so it's been ages since I've done a lot, as a lot of people have picked up on. We're not producing a lot of content at the moment. Sorry about that, but as we all know, real life has a way of getting in the way of these things, and that's just where we all are at the moment, unfortunately. So there's definitely less content, but hopefully. Hopefully you still enjoy it when we do get the content out, and hopefully we might be back to producing more before too long. So I'm going to pick up on some of Taylor's points from his last video. First things first, mate. Congratulations on your new role. You are the, have I got this right? You're the media coordinator of the OSBGO, or the outreach coordinator, or something like that. Can't quite remember what the exact title is, but congrats on that. That's awesome. Hope that's going well. I think one of the things that you mentioned was about the kind of the roles, and we don't really have a lot of that over here. There's very little. Given the fact that we have this league, and we have this league with hundreds of people in it, and that's been running for several years, there's relatively little formality in it. There's a kind of league coordinator, which is still Tom, I believe, whose job it is to just kind of, I don't know, like. I don't really know. Kind of do the come up with the rules, I guess it was. Like Mick did that to begin with, and then Tom took over, and so on and so forth. And then we have people like my information on this might be out of date, to be honest. But we have people like Owen Wright and Sam Page, who post the Outriders post, which kind of updates the group on the news. I think David Reed helps with that as well. I think maybe he checks the spreadsheet or updates the spreadsheet. I don't really know. I'm not really playing competitively a lot these days, so the kind of competitive side of things and the league side of things doesn't really interest me in the way that it used to. So I don't follow too much of that stuff. But yeah, we don't have a lot of. I don't know how you guys have elections and stuff for different roles. We don't really have any of that over here. We have a prize coordinator who's normally James Clark did that for a few years. I think that's normally just the TO who is going to present the prizes, normally, isn't it? Can't quite remember. So like the last tournament of the year, it becomes the one where the prizes get presented, and I think it's normally just the TO of that event that's done that. I could be wrong about that. So yeah, congrats on that. I hope it goes well for you. What does it actually involve? Do you have like are you peer reviewed? Like, can you do it badly and get into trouble for it? Like, I'd be quite interested to know that sort of thing about how that works over there. But yeah, congrats, Taylor. Hope it all goes well, and hope you're enjoying doing it. He also mentioned, do the GBHL 6 ever get together, which I really enjoyed because it makes us sound like some sort of band of criminals, you know, like the West Memphis 3 or something. But the yeah, I like the idea that we're the GBHL 6. The answer to that is pretty much, without sounding too negative, no. We all live in different parts of the country, and so it's actually spectacularly rare that we're together. I have a funny feeling, if you go and look at the GBHL podcast Facebook page, there's some pictures on there of the GBHL 6, and I think that was it was Stockport in Flames last year. It was the tournament run, the doubles tournament run by Harry and Jamie, and I think that was the first time ever, or certainly maybe not ever, the first time since we'd all been hosts that we'd all been in the same room together, I think, which is why we got that photo. So that gives you an idea of how rare it is. So yeah, I mean, we've all got so much going on, and we're all, I think it's fair to say that of the 6 of us, we are all going to far less tournaments than we used to go to a few years ago. I think probably Steve's probably going to the most of any of us at the moment, I reckon. We've got a fair few of the guys coming for 7 Stones in a few weeks. I'll talk about that in a minute, actually. But we've got Steve, Harry, and Tom and myself will obviously be at 7 Stones. James not, and Jamie was coming, but he's sadly had to pull out very recently, which makes me sad. So we'll have a few of the guys there, so it'll be nice to catch up with Harry and Steve at that, no doubt. But yeah, so there you go. We don't spend a lot of time together. To be honest, no reason, I think, just pure logistics. So no, sorry, we don't all live together in a big house and kind of watch movies every night. So one of the things you asked about was the GT that we'd just had. At the time we did this, we'd just had the GT, I think. So that means you were recording yours just after February, was that, I guess, maybe? Who knows, maybe you're recording yours in March, I can't quite remember. But and what armies did I take to that? Well, it was awesome. I loved the GT. It was absolutely brilliant. And I don't quite know if I think we talked about this on the Palantir, just on one of the last Palantirs we were doing, was just before the GT, that I had a complete change of heart just prior to the GT, and rather than taking my Farakas and this hideous Lake Town army, which is what I'd kind of planned on doing, I went completely fluffy. And so I ended up, my armies were the Champions of Erebor. It was 700 points, I think, was that right? And so I did the, I just painted up Thorin's company, the Champions models, and I took 700 points of those. And then my evil force was the Gundabad forces that are outside the gate. So essentially Stumpy and Gundabad trolls and orcs and ogres, but I didn't take Azog or Bolg because they're not, they're not actually at that part of the battle. So those were my armies, and I don't know, I made a big display board for it, kind of To the King display board, which was which I posted a lot about on the group, so you might have seen that. And I just had the best weekend. I had absolutely the best weekend. It was brilliant. I'm so pleased with my decision to do that. And I did really well. I haven't actually thought about this. I'm doing this all on the fly, but I think, I came 9th or 8th or something like that, or no, hang on. I think I might be bigging this up. I think I might have come something like 17th. But if I had rolled a 5 or a 6 on the last roll of the game against David Murphy and got a win, I think I would have jumped up to 9th. I think it was something like that. So yeah, still, it's like 17th or something like that, I think. But I was really pleased with that, considering the armies I took were just complete fluff. So the Orc army was awful. It was you might have heard Tom picking it for me on the last Palantir, I think it was, where it was basically 2 trolls, 700 points, 2 Gundabad trolls, Stumpy the troll brute, 2 Gundabad ogres, 2 Gundabad captains, and then the rest just orcs. So that was, I mean, it was a fairly terrible army. It might have, I think it might have won a game. I can't remember. I feel like my champions won more. I honestly don't know. It's been ages now. I can't remember. The Champions beat Smaug, played Matt King at Recon with Smaug. That was a really cool game, the Champions Variable v Smaug. And my Gundabad's won against Sam McGuinness. I remember that. My Gundabad's lost a game as well. I'm just desperately trying to remember this now off the top of my head. But I don't know. It doesn't matter. I didn't go to compete, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, and really validated my decision, if I'm honest, and made me kind of want to do more than that. I definitely feel like my competitive gaming part of me is now reserved, largely speaking, for 2 tournaments a year, and that would be Nova and Ardacon. I think that's the way I'm leaning. But they'll be my competitive events where I might take my filth, but other stuff I'm just I get to go to so few tournaments and I'm just enjoying taking the kind of fluffy stuff. And I really like using the Gundabad army. I'm enjoying that every time I've used that at an event. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, so I took those along there, and it was lots of fun. The only problem now is I've got this giant To the King display board, and I'm trying to desperately work out what to do with it and where it's going to live. While Emma keeps asking me that very same question. So we'll have to see about that one. That's the problem making a display board, isn't it? Housing the damn thing afterwards. So yes, you also mentioned about new releases, and God only knows what the new releases were. Then probably the stuff that was shown at the GT, which I guess was that like Hilda and Percy, the Goblin Mercenaries, and was there something else shown there? I think there's the Mummic War Leader. I think that's now out. So yeah, it's cool. There's loads of stuff. So as I'm recording this, we've just had Warhammer Fest. I didn't go to Warhammer Fest. I was very much here, but all the news just came out this weekend, didn't it? Of the new Gondor troops and the new the Gondor heroes, sorry, and Mordor Orc heroes, which are very cool. So those are the current new releases. Now I've got to say, they don't interest me in the slightest. For me, Return of the King's like probably my least. It's probably, this is gonna get me into a lot of trouble. It's probably my least favourite of all 6, maybe at the moment. In terms of, I don't mean it's the worst one, but it means I think they're all great. But in terms of the stuff that's in it, the kind of in terms of a modelling point of view, I just find Minas Tirith and Mordor really, I don't know, kind of bland. This just never interested me. I was always with Lord of the Rings. I was always more of a Two Towers guy with the I like the Rohan and the Uruk-hai, that kind of thing. So the idea of like returning to the Pelennor doesn't really interest me, to be honest. But all that said, it's still awesome for the game because you know it's not just for me. So that's incredibly cool to see this stuff coming out for Lord of the Rings, and the models looked amazing. They're I know that at least Ingold and Hurin, is it, were Keith's. I saw his post about that. His first digital sculpts, and they look absolutely awesome. So the models are beautiful. There's no doubt about that. They're absolutely stunning sculpts, and they've gone down really well. So that must be that's kind of great for the guys, the Middle Earth guys, to kind of have that reaction, I guess, to the first real stuff to come out of Lord of the Rings. The thing that's really excited me about the new releases is the Goblin Mercenaries, because I'm so into the kind of Hobbit aesthetic at the moment, and the Goblin Mercenaries, we saw them painted for the first time, I don't know, about a week ago possibly as a preview, and they've come out, and Steve Crow, classic Steve Crow, GBHL Steve has already painted them up, and they're looking great. And those I'm really excited about, and I kind of have a deadline for these Forge World Thorin companies, which, you know, I'll never get them all done, but I need a bunch of them done for about 8 weeks time. And quite frankly, seeing those Goblin Mercenaries, all I'm thinking is that whenever they come out, which is presumably going to be in what, a week or 2 maybe, we can hope, I just want to grab them and get them straight to the top of the painting queue. I think they look absolutely great, and obviously I've got this big Gundabad army already, and so whenever anything new comes out for Gundabad, I'm always quite excited to just grab that and chuck it in, because it's not a huge kind of investment, you know. It's just that one extra unit or that one extra hero or something. So for me, ludicrously excited about the new Goblin Mercenaries. So that's me kind of over here on this side of the pond. What do you think from over there? What's the Canadian reaction to the new kind of Lord of the Rings era figures, and also the Goblin Mercenaries. I'd be curious to see what you think of them. So that's that. What have I been up to? Well, what's taken up most of my time of late, as you probably will have noticed if you've been anywhere near the Great British Hobby League, is SBG issue 6. And if that spoiler wasn't obvious enough earlier, da-da! Here it is. Wow, is that any chance of focusing there? What if I go right in? SBG, there we go. SBG issue 6. Rah. Indeed, this is our the latest version of our fanzine, in which, spoilers, I don't think we've revealed this before, but Kev Spector has done an incredible painting tutorial for Thorin, King Under the Mountain. So that's really cool. So that's basically what me and Tom have been up to. It's a large part of why there hasn't been any Palantir for a long time, because we've been working away on that. And I'm delighted to say that part of the reason I can paint and part of the reason I can film this video today is that issue 6 of SBG is finished. Literally last night. Finished at 1:39, I believe it was, in the morning. We finally finished it, and it has now gone. There is nothing we can do about it. If we spot any typos, it doesn't matter. It has flown to the printers, it has left the nest, and it is being produced and put together as we speak, which is very, very exciting, and of course, as ever, very nerve-wracking. So that's really cool. So I get this today. Feels like it's always the same. It kind of feels like the first day of the summer holidays when you're at school or something. That suddenly, for the first time in about, I don't know, 6 months or something, I kind of don't have anything to do on the magazine in a way, which is really, really cool. And so I was very, very keen to kind of up brushes, as it were, and get some paint on these guys. So that's my hope for next week. So yeah, issue 6 is coming out. Taylor, I know you're aware issue 6 is coming out, because you're putting together a big kind of group order for Canada. So if anyone else is interested, keep your eye to the ground. We are going to be, it will go on general release, I think at the end of June, I think, somewhere around then. We'll be actually dispatching it, but we will take pre-orders. So if you want to send over your donations to us now, and then we'll get you on the system and just get it posted out to you as soon as we can. If you have no idea what we're talking about, then SBG Magazine is the fanzine, the independent fanzine that myself and Tom Harrison produce. This is our 6th issue, and if you want any more information on that, just email us on sbgmagazine@gmail.com. So yeah, lots and lots of time and energy has gone into that, as you'll hopefully see and appreciate when the new issue comes out in a few weeks. So very exciting times there. And where's it coming out? It's coming out at Seven Stones 2018. Woo woo woo! So this is indeed, as much as I've got some painting time now, with the magazine stress out the way, the tournament stress begins. Tom and I have our annual doubles tournament. It's the longest running independent doubles tournament, certainly in the UK, perhaps anywhere in the world, but we're into our 4th year now, and this year is also going to be the biggest ever, because we're going to have 32 teams playing, so 64 players coming together for an awesome weekend of kind of fun themed games, which is what kind of we really heavily promote at Seven Stones. So that is it's Bank Holiday Monday, so it's a week, Sunday and Monday, that's going to be taking place. So very excited about that. Loads of stuff going on in the group. We've just, unfortunately, we had a couple of dropouts, but we've just refilled the teams, so we're now back up to our full quota of teams, which is awesome. It should be an awesome weekend of kind of gaming. We have it's very, very different, I think, to a lot of the tournaments out there, in that it's obviously doubles. It's 400 points per person. And the idea is, although we sometimes waive this if people come up with cool ideas, the idea is that you have to draw each player's army from a different army list. The idea being that you don't essentially go all Goblin Town or something, and what it's meant to do is encourage you to take kind of, historical alliances, and then nice alliances from throughout Middle-earth, which it normally does, and people really, really get into the spirit of it. The vast majority of the time, so that's always incredibly cool to see. So yeah, we're kind of planning for that as I speak, essentially. And we're what else have we got on there? We run it on a group system, so rather than having a kind of Swiss tournament knockout like most, you get put into a group of 3 other teams. So there's going to be 8 groups of 4 teams, and everyone plays everyone on the first day, and then it's done like like the World Cup essentially, where like you score points per game, and then on day 2 there is a 4 separate knockout tournaments. So basically, whoever wins, there's 8 groups, as I said, and the 8 teams that win their group go to play for the Palantir Plate, the Palantir Cup, we call it, where you actually win the Palantir. Yours, and that looks like this, because I've got one of them here. Ooh, these are our Palantirs. This one, obviously, is the kind of souvenir YouTube Palantir one that me and Tom got. But these are the sort of things you get. Solid glass. They're really, really nice. I always sort of say they're sort of trophies that you can put up in your lounge, and your girlfriend isn't going to kick off. It's not like you're kind of giant like that throwing a skulls thing or anything. So that's what we try to do, make some really, really nice trophies. So yeah, the 8 teams that win their groups go on to play for the Palantir and win the actual tournament. Then the 8 teams who come second in their group play for the Palantir Plate, which is like the next tier tournament. I think the prizes for that are 2 pop vinyls. It's not these ones, but it is. We have got Sam. It's Sam and Frodo this year. Hey Sam. So we got Sam and Frodo as the prizes for that. And then the 8 teams who come third in their group play for the Palantir Mug, and the prize for that is a Lord of the Rings mug each. And then the 4 teams who come last in their group play for the Palantir Spoon on the last day. So it's a very, very different format that's designed to stop people bringing competitive lists. Because the idea is that essentially, even if you bring a competitive list, you could end up in a group of death with someone else who brought a competitive list, and only one of you is going to get out. And you can't then make that up on the second day. And similarly, there's no, if you just get one bag draw on the first day, you can't come back from it. There's no way of making those points back up, and that's very, very deliberate, because the whole point of our tournament is about theme and about fluff, and you shouldn't care if you win or not. So if any of it sounds or feels unfair, that's entirely the point. And people really, really get into the spirit of it, and they always come in like fancy dress, and people make display boards and stuff. And what's really, really cool is looking at the group now, you can see people making their armies for the tournament, and really kind of doing some cool stuff. Matt Davis, for example, is making the, as you call it, the Army of the Living. He's taking Army of the Dead models and basically re-sculpting them to get rid of all the rotten bits. So it's those guys when they're alive. I think he's using Numenorians profiles from, which is incredibly cool. So you get that sort of thing going on at Seven Stones, and there's people producing. You've probably seen if you've been following David and Steve's Fantasy Fellowship. They're bringing it along, and so they let the community decide who they should bring along in their fellowship, which has been awesome. So my girl Tazza, hey, there she is. She's come along, which would be brilliant. And they've got Bayorn in there, and there's currently a poll up to see who they should come as fancy dress as. So that gives you kind of some idea about the nature of Seven Stones, and kind of how it works, and how people react to it essentially. And so yeah, that's kind of the next thing for me essentially, which is in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be a really good social as well. We've got about 30 people coming out the night before it, the Saturday night. We're all going to go for a curry in Twickenham, and then on the Sunday night, so the night of the tournament, we've actually hired out a pub, or a pub is shutting for us to the general public. So we're going to have 60 nerds descending on a pub for a pub quiz and playing Lord of the Rings music, and no one else is going to be allowed in, which is going to be absolutely awesome and pretty unique, I think. So the idea is basically that it's just meant to be a real, it's what you call them social events or hobby events, I think you call them over there. But the idea is that you really, really shouldn't care about winning the Seven Stones, but despite that, we still get a really, really good turnout of all of the kind of some of the more competitive players, who then use it as a chance to take it easy a bit and to chill out and kind of maybe try out a different force. So yeah, that's what that's what we're up to. So that is in, what is it, about 13 days, I suppose. It's going to be very exciting for us because for the first time ever, we'll be launching a magazine. The whole point of the tournament, the reason we started running the tournament, was to fund the magazine, essentially, to pay for the print cost of the magazine. But we've never actually launched an issue at it, so that's going to be incredibly exciting, and it'll be a really nice added kind of bonus and added feature of Seven Stones 2018, I think. So yeah, I'm ludicrously excited about that. It feels like it's been ages. Obviously, I went to the GT in February, but I think that was my last event. So beyond anything else, I'm really just looking forward to seeing everyone. We've got loads of guys coming down, like friends coming down that I haven't seen in ages, and I'm just really looking forward to that. And I think it will be, I think it's going to be an awesome time. So yeah, so hopefully, I don't know when Taylor will do the next one of these, but I might do my next, if he does one in a week, maybe I do one the week after, just before Seven Stones, and maybe we get an update before it. If not, my next one will probably be talking about the launch of issue 6 and how it went, woo woo, and also how Seven Stones went, and all that sort of stuff. And hopefully, it'll be it's going to be a great couple of hobby weeks for me. So there we go. That is my little the 2 time zones update for you. Back over to Taylor, and I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, as they say on Blackfyre Productions, don't forget to ignite your hobby, and don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Support us on Twitter, and what do we do? Support your Hobbit host by clicking in the links below and picking up this. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Support your Hobbit hobby, and happy strategy battle gaming. Boom.